Oh, you want me to direct it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's start over here.
Okay, wait. Down left, please.
Turn around a little bit. And now,
Background, please. Background.
and look straight, please.
Down, please.
And straight.
Stay here. And then Julie. Julie, look down, please.
This way, please. This way. Center. Yeah.
All right.
Thank
This
you.
way, please.
One, just the cast.
This way, please. Turn left. More.
Straight. Over here, please.
Look on your left.
Ethan, turn left, please.
To left, please.
Ethan, turn left,
To
please.
left.
Julie, turn left. Just step before.
Could you come closer to us, please?
Guys, turn around.
Julie, you have to turn right. That's it. Second reflex right there.
Could you clear the background, please?
Right here, Julie, right here. Julie, straight.
This way, please. This way.
Julie, come on. We need single shot.
Okay, come on. Ethan, could you step a little bit away from the wall? This way, please.
Second row. Second row.
Second row, please.
Jessie and Céline are back. Following Before Sunrise and Before Sunset, this is the third part called Before Midnight. The last film had an open end, and we realize that in the meantime they have become a couple, but their marriage seems to have hit a rough patch. They're caught in the daily grind, but something has remained unchanged. They talk and talk and talk. A string of witty dialogues marked this new film by Richard Linklater, starring, of course, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. Shown outside of competition, this is the press conference for Before Midnight.
Wow, more pictures.
We have have to open our own bars. They make you work. Like, whoops.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, could you please sit down so we can start the press conference? Can you please sit down? Können Sie sich bitte setzen, damit wir mit der Pressekonferenz beginnen können?
Can you please sit down so we can start
And
with the
please
press
don't
conference?
use any flash during the press conference. Bitte keinen Blitz benutzen.
I don't know. Is that what that's for? Yeah. Or maybe it's translation?
Yeah. I don't know how to wear these things.
I don't know. Do we have to?
Dankeschön. Vorne auch noch bitte hinsetzen.
Thank you. And the first row, please also take your seats.
Someone's filming us with an iPad. Someone's filming us with an iPad.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 63rd International Film Festival in Berlin is proud to present after Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight, and have a welcome for Ethan Hawke.
Thank you.
Also have a welcome for the director, Richard Linklater. As a director or as an actor, it's always wonderful to have you here, Julie Delpy. So, are there any questions? Yes, here in front. Wait for the microphone, please. And could you please stand up so anybody can see you?
Hi, I'm Magda Maksimiak from Film News, and I wanted to tell you at first that it happens very rarely in the cinema that a film based on a dialogue can be so exciting and witty and charming, intelligent and delightful. I wanted to ask you first, why did you want to come and play the same characters for the third time? Not that I'm not excited about it, but what do you find attractive in these characters after so many years? And also one short question to Mr. Hawke. I saw I actually saw you play in The Winter's Tale and Cherry Orchard in the Old Vic, and I was wondering if you were the one who put the name of the play in the script. Thank you.
I want to start backwards.
Well, Richard is directing me to start backwards and say that, yeah, we didn't just do The Winter's Tale and Cherry Orchard in the Old Vic, we also did it in Greece. And so it was a little homage to that play and that experience of part of what made me love Greece. And it was just, Before Sunset, we were finishing the movie and I was going to do a play called Henry IV, and we docked at the Henry Cat. So it was a little continuation of just weird personal homages, but it is nonsensical and there's no meaning behind it. In regards to revisiting the characters, that's part of the weird privilege of this opportunity. I really, as an actor, to not only revisit a character that you've played before, but one that you helped co-write, which is just a really unique opportunity where you can, even your question, those are, in a strange way, The Winter's Tale and Henry IV are little, time capsule things that are personal to me to remember that moment in time that we made the movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we created these characters 18 years ago, and we realized they're kind of still alive in us every 6 years or so, and we start thinking about maybe they have something to express about where they are in their lives. And I think we not only do we have our long-term relationship now with each other, but Jessie and Céline have a long-term relationship. So we have our own long-term creative relationship, which is really, it's really fun, really rewarding. So.
Julie?
Yeah, I mean, revisiting those characters, I think we always try to, they're in the present, even though the stories evolve in time. So, there is an element of time and in our lives as well, which is really unusual for actors and writers to be able to revisit. Actors, writers, directors, for anyone really, involved in any project. So, but each segment is in the moment, but within this period of time, of 18 years. So, a moment in time. Yeah. Kind of special to do that as actors or writers.
Question there for you, please.
It's Yannis Raouzeos from myfilm.gr from Greece. First of all, I want to really congratulate you for the film. I mean, it was stunning and very emotional. In my opinion, maybe the best of all the three in this trilogy. Mr. Linklater. I want first to address Mr. Hawke and Mr. P on the way that they can define their characters. What do they think? They feel somehow that there are some symbols, some kind of symbols in this post-Romerish idea of dialogue couple that speaks about the subject of love and the progress of love. Can they define that? Can they feel somehow like symbols of their own generation? And also I want to ask Mr. Linklater, does he feel that after all this end of this trilogy, is there any chance for a fourth film? A film that can have just the first part of the title, the part before, and 3 dots after. Thank you very much.
Want to start backwards? Yeah.
Okay. Is there any chance of a fourth? Well, the fact that we've made 2 sequels now, I guess it begs the question. But I think I speak for the group here. I'm sure we have absolutely no idea right now what that could possibly be. And we probably won't for like 5 or 6 years. Usually we joke about it, maybe. Yeah. And then at some point our jokes become maybe a little more serious. And we realize that Jessie and Céline are maybe trying to go, hey, I'm at a new phase in my life. You have to deal with me. And there might be something. But who knows the future? You know, that's...
Every time I try to push Julie into doing a full-blown erotica film, that's what I want to do. Just where Jessie and Céline, you know, we really take, you know, push the boundaries of cinema in a pornographic way and really explore all their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Julie, somehow that doesn't...
I resist.
We try.
Maybe the 7th part.
Yeah, in the 7th part, yeah. When I'm 80.
Hello, my name is Cameron from German-Turkish Press here in Berlin. Congratulations for this nice comedy drama. It's a wonderful movie. My question is to Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. What would you say? How was the relationship between each other, and especially between him and his son? And how was the experience in Greece?
So, a few questions.
Thank you.
So your experience.
What? Say the first part of the question again.
Experience each other.
Your experience with each other.
What do you think about the experience
with each other?
With each other, it's awful, really.
Well, it's kind of a mentor-student relationship.
Yeah, I listen to everything he says.
Yeah.
Well,
the truth is that when I met Julie, Rick, you know, brought us together, and I met her on Before Sunrise, and I'd never met somebody of my generation that was as knowledgeable and passionate and talented, but really knowledgeable about cinema the way that Julie was. Even at 23, she had already worked with Godard and Kieslowski and Volker Schlondorf. She was a deeply wise person at 23, and I certainly was not. And I feel like I've been playing catch up with her for about 20 years.
And now he's of course, you know, I'm like...
And now I've surpassed her.
You surpassed her. And what else? Greece was wonderful. You were asking about Greece. I mean, it was just a wonderful experience to shoot there, the crew, everything about it was just perfect. I mean, it couldn't have been a better location, even though at first I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I remember scouting. I was going to maybe go to a few countries, but I went to Greece first, found some locations, met the people that would be working with on this movie, and just that was it. Canceled the rest of the trips and said, Greece is the spot. So
Julie and I got an email from Rick on the scout, and that's when I really knew the movie was going to happen. I mean, your passion for Greece.
Just like I could feel the movie. I mean, at that point, it was just an outline, I guess, of ideas. We hadn't really finished the script, so. But it's a Greek movie, you know. It really is.
I don't know what he wants. So
I don't know.
You don't want. Okay, so. But Richard, can you add? It's a little influenced by Asina, who's in our jury, making it happening in Greece.
Yeah, I've known Athena Rahel Tangari for 20-something years now. She lived in Austin, where I live.
Did she work on Slacker?
Yeah, she worked on Slacker, and we've kept up over the years. And I was very aware of what was going on in Athens and this kind of new Greek cinema that's exciting. I'd seen a lot of the films, so just came to Greece and worked with a lot of her crew, and she introduced me to a lot of people, so it was like I said, we got inside the Greek film community in that way. Felt very,
okay,
indigenous.
Olli Skembrex, WDR German Public Radio. Congrats on making the audience laugh a lot in the movie theater, which hasn't been the way the previous days. I wonder if you could elaborate on how you actually work dialogues together. How do you get this male-female perspective in all your films? Thank you.
That is the male-female thing. I mean, we really don't think there's one perspective. I'm kind of proud of that you can see both their points of view. It's not seen more from the male or the female. And that's a constant negotiation, I think, between all of us. And it's not like they only represent their characters. Like, we all write all the parts all the time. And it just sort of, it's a collaboration in the best sense of the word. Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessary, me writing all the more feminist thing. You know what I mean? It's not what you would expect necessarily. You know what I mean? So, it's interesting actually to put yourself in the shoes of it's about, communicating and, it's really a collaborative work. I mean, it's not, I'm the woman, they're the guys, and
no, like Jessie
we fight
and Céline,
for our side, it's not like that.
It's not like that. We don't really fight. We discuss. We have the luxury of time as we.
But I always win.
Always, yeah. Well, that's a given. So, but it's a wonderful collaboration. We have the luxury of time when we start taking this serious. We have a couple years to really talk about things, where they would be, and all that. So we have a lot of time to digest and work through all the easy ideas and dig in a little deeper, hopefully.
Okay, a question in the middle, in the back, please.
Hello. I'm from Channel Yang Shanghai, and first of all, thank you for bringing us such a lovely movie. And my question goes to perhaps all of you. And the quarreling part at first the end of the movie is quite, for me, expected. So I'm wondering, have you ever thought about other possibilities by this part when you are working with the film? And the second question is, why did you choose a happy ending? Thank you.
I didn't totally understand what you said. What part was expected? And
the quarreling part in the hotel.
Quarrel.
The quarreling part.
Oh, the fighting. Oh, quarrel. Okay.
The fighting part. Yes.
Fighting part. Okay.
Well, it's not all a fight. It starts off very differently, but and you think it's a happy ending? I'm glad. It's hopeful, perhaps. Yeah. So. It's not cut and dry. They go through something on this day, I think.
We certainly experimented with one of the things that was most difficult about the third one is that people weren't really expecting a sequel to Before Sunrise. And so nobody had any agenda or opinion about what that sequel should be. But once you do two, once it was announced that we were making this movie, I saw online people were blogging about what they thought the movie should be. I haven't met a film director in the last 9 years that didn't tell me what he thought or she thought the third film should be. And so we knew we were up against a lot of people having an agenda about where Jessie and Céline should be. And that agenda is stifling, because you obviously would like to make people happy. But what's good about Before Sunrise and Sunset is that it's something very personal to the three of us. And so we just decided to continue on that path and write things that were meaningful to us.
And true to what we wanted to write.
And hope that a like-minded person might be invited in. And so there were so many different possible scenarios that were discussed. And this is, I'm working on a Brecht play right now, so it kind of comes up. Brecht had the idea that what you're left with is all the least rejected idea.
The least.
Yeah,
Because we spend most of our time, rejecting each other's ideas in a nice way. You bring in something you want to get in the movie, and
that's not terrible.
If one of us go, that's interesting, but I don't know if it's that original. It just it goes away. Something we think is funny. If others don't think it's funny, we really trust one another, and we're kind of rigorous, I think, with each other, and we don't really hurt it. No feelings are hurt, and we just. Something not working organically, it goes.
Hi, this is Yanis. My name is Yanis. I'm from Greece too. In all of the trilogy, the films of the trilogy, I think the place is the third protagonist. First it was Vienna, then it was Paris, now it's Peloponnesus. I would like you to describe, in your own words, if you can, this particular role that Peloponnesus, the place that the film was shot, was placed in the film.
Well, I mean, I like the region we show in Greece isn't usually it's not the Mamma Mia region, you know, the one that most films show. They usually go to the islands and they do that. So I was kind of happy to be in a region that we think is paradise, but you don't see it in a lot of movies. And it's kind of the more modern Greece, you know, the town they walk through. And I mean, you feel the ancientness around you, but it's still the modern Greece too. So, but you're right, it is a third character. It has been in the other movies. So this one, they're on, you know, they're on holiday, writer's retreat. So we sort of pick up with them. We saw it as sort of in paradise. You know, Jessie and Céline have a lot of what they ever would have wanted in life, I think. In addition, you know, each other, but their lives, what they're doing. And yet they're still human, you know, they're still having to deal with, you know, just being a person with relationships. So it seemed like a good jumping off place. Greece, this has been going on for many thousands of years between people. So.
Tragedy.
That was a funny side note to the Greece is anything but tragic, I think.
Okay,
No.
question, please.
Yes, congratulations on this one. A sequel is always very tricky because in fucking up the third one, you could also ruin the first one in retrospective. A phenomenon you could call the Matrix Revolutions effect. But you did not know such thing. You made a wonderfully intelligent and honest and delightful movie. Thank you very much for that. But I was always wondering how much of yourself is in these two characters? Because obviously you, Julie, wrote some songs that I enjoy listening to. You, Ethan, wrote 2 novels that I enjoyed reading. But apart from these obvious parallels, how much of your own thoughts and personalities do you let flow into these characters during the writing process? Because I personally find it very hard to believe that an intelligent person like Ethan is really secretly wishing for a bimbo girlfriend. Maybe you could elaborate.
You don't know me very well.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah. You know, one of the joys about working with Rick is that there's a wonderful thing that can happen, which is you can really blur the line between character and player, so that it's almost indecipherable, which is an exercise in naturalism that goes beyond the normal. I mean, you know, Mike Lee does some of this stuff where you're really encouraging actors to use pieces of themselves, not just in an emotional way, which is the way a lot of directors do, but allowing you to contribute to the text of the work and shape the structure of the work so that these things can be unlocked. And it's a really unique privilege because it's not, obviously it's not Julie and Ethan. There are aspects of my life that are relevant to this trilogy and there's aspects of my life that are irrelevant to this. You know, there's certain things. And Julie and Rick become largely the barometer for that. You know, things that don't interest them that I'm interested in writing about obviously don't go in this project. I have to find another home for that kind of idea. And the same for the two of them. And a large part of Jessie and Céline is Richard Linklater. I mean, it's not, you know, there's a fusion happening of all these characters. We like to, I mean, none of it could happen. Any one of us were missing and the whole thing couldn't exist.
You know,
and as far as bimbos, I don't know.
Well, just any pretty girl wants to ask a dumb question to Ethan and see what happens to him. No, no, but I think, you know, it's interesting to take maybe a seed of truth, something that's genuine, because it's true that even in Before Sunrise, like I saw it again before we started writing this, and I was like, kind of surprised how things that were actually in my journals when I was like 18 ended up in this film. So, you know, like very personal things about, not about who I am necessarily, but about feelings, things like that. You see, it's more about an essence than me being Céline, you know what I mean? But it's this little seed of truth, and then it can grow this tree of fiction, I guess, you know. But it's rooted in something true, you know.
And see, just because now I'm thinking about this whole bimbo joke, is it, you know, I think that says a lot more about Céline than it does about Jessie. You know, that's Céline who says that. And it's a very female fear that what men really want is somebody more attractive than themselves, that you're not being seen for what you are.
Also, she's teasing him a little bit. I think it's a little provocation. She's starting the fight in the car, and then she's doing that bimbo thing. It's a little passive-aggressive moment, too, because it's not just, you know, it's like, oh, he's a great guy, but, you know, he's really a misogynistic, you know, asshole, you know, so, you know, she's being a little, you know, obviously passive-aggressive, you know, in a cute way, you know.
Or so she likes to think.
Or so she likes to think.
At best, cute, yeah.
The question on the right, please.
Hello, Marina Nasi, freelancer. Jessie and Céline touch hands quite a lot during the movie. Looks like the tender way of refinding harmony after little storms, more powerful than sex and jokes. Was all those scenes of touching hands written, or there was some improvisation?
He can't stop touching me.
I'm very attracted to Julie. You know, you know, it's part of, I mean, we had this idea that, well, one of the things about we've worked together now for 18 years, and we, usually when you have to play a romance, you're like meeting the actress on the, you know, 2 days before you start shooting. And we've known each other for almost 20 years now. And so that
we're not afraid of touching each other. I mean, you know.
In fact, you come back later, I'll show you some really interesting, never mind.
No, but I think we did talk about it though, like finding the right balance of not being too cute either, you know, like holding hand the whole time, but holding hand at one moment, you know, after the end of the walk, they hold hand, you know, like it wasn't like just, you know, accidental, like, you know, you have to find the right balance. You don't want it to end up being like a cute, well, they're holding hand and, you know, la 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 la, you know, kind of thing.
And one question for the director. Most of the scenes in the first part reminded me of Bertolucci's Stealing Beauty, in terms of an international community enjoying life and intellectual in a Mediterranean surrounding. Was it just my impression, or you had that in mind a little bit?
From Stealing Beauty?
Stealing Beauty by Bernardo Bertolucci.
Yeah. I feel like I've never seen that. I feel like I know that movie a little bit, but I've seen every other Bertolucci film, I promise. Almost everyone.
Please here.
Hi, I'm Sophia Del for GQ.
Other side, please.
Thank you for some fabulous work. And we keep talking about the element of time, which is, of course, what makes these sequels so exciting. But how would you describe the essence of your characters without the element of time?
Like, who is Jessie? Who is Céline?
Yes. Who are they really without the element of time?
It's a question we never asked ourselves. Yeah.
Individuals, I mean, with, you know, just their own personality. I mean, it's very difficult to define, you know, a human being. I mean, how do you define a human being? It's a very complex. I mean, the way I try to write when I write, or when I think of a character, I try to give it different, you know, side, that it's not a one-dimensional character, because I think then, to me, when I see one-dimensional characters, especially women in films, it can happen a bit more often than men, I think, or actually men too, sometimes it can be very, very one-dimensional. I have a hard time relating, you know, so I feel the more dimensions, the better, you know, happy, sad, nice, angry, you know, all sorts of things go through one individual in a matter of a day, you know what I mean? So every sort of emotions and stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tough question, actually, because what I love about the movies is how almost anonymous Jessie and Céline are. You know, there's two people that on a train who just meet each other. They really, in a way, are just masculine, feminine. I mean, these two people seeking, you know, they're not really defined by their jobs. I mean, none of these, part of why we wanted this one to take place on vacation is so that, because most of our adult life, the time of it is just eaten up by our work. And so when they're younger, you can be riding the trains and have nothing to do, and you know, but it gets harder as we get older not to be defined by your job and to try to see into somebody's soul. It's a very interesting question, and one is hard to answer. Is who am I? I don't know. I mean, the dream is to. Julie and I were both very grateful to Rick for creating the opportunity in that fight scene in the hotel room to get to play a three-dimensional human being. Somebody who says the wrong thing sometimes and has a witty comeback sometimes and doesn't another time and
is
has
upset,
wants and
is
needs.
funny and sadness, you know, all sorts of. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, I'm long-winded.
Okay, next question again on the right, please.
Yeah, hi, Asim Chabra from rediff.com in India. I had a question about the long shots. The process in which, how you guys do it. I know all three of you write the script, but are the dialogues improvised? I mean, how do you guys go about it? It's so smooth, and you know the shots go on for like 5-10 minutes.
Or the car scene, yeah, it's like even longer. I love I've experienced this twice now, when we're co-writers of the movie, but somewhere as we get closer to production, there's this moment where Julie and Ethan realize that they're going to have to perform all this dialogue, and for an actor,
that's when we hate the
and
writers.
I see this glaze come over both their eyes and a little bit of fear, like, oh my God, because they know I'm going to want to be able to do it in one take.
And then all of a sudden we start cutting lines.
Yeah, and so it becomes really. It's a lot of work. I think Julie and Ethan will never be credited, I think, in the way what's demanded of a performance in a movie like this, where you say it's just kind of feels improvised, or it's not. It's not. It's meticulously rehearsed and structured and to the gesture, and they are spontaneously acting that, but you can't just do that spontaneously. I can't describe to you how much work they have to put in. Like, I'm, you know, producing a movie, but they are running lines and working, and all the things an actor would do to prepare for the most rigorous part ever, they have to put into this. But, you know, to make it seem that natural, it's a lot of work. So,
I mean, to me,
that's fun.
It makes me think when I was practicing clarinet when I was a kid, and I would practice and practice and practice till I would bleed from the lips. Yeah. And at the end, I would play in concert, and it would seem like it was painless. But that's exactly and effortless. I mean, that's exactly like a musician. To me, I mean, I because it was my background, that's how I approach everything. And it's just practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing to the point where it seems, you know.
Yeah, well, it's the nature of all performance, musical, athletic, anything. You know, it's that kind of prep. Yeah.
You know, that's the way it works when it looks.
Meets the moment you're doing it. It's the magic, you know.
Okay. In front, please.
Deborah Cole.
Could you stand up? Thank you.
I'm under a laptop. But
oh, sorry.
That's a big laptop.
Yes, it is, and you're telling me. Deborah Cole from AFP News Agency, Agence France Presse. I have a question for Ethan and Julie. I think a big part of the audience feels like they've kind of grown up with these two. And I was wondering to what extent you also sort of, you know, share that deep connection with the two characters, and to what extent you think that they're kind of representative of their generations at all. Do you think that they've reached that point now in the third film where they've become a little bit sort of iconic or stand for something about our generation?
Well, one of the things that's interesting to me about it is how much they're the same. You know, we feel that we're growing and changing so much every day. But when I go back and look at the first film, there's such a continuity, not only to Jessie, but also, you know, I of course look at it and see myself, the actor, and when I was learning to, you know, that was the first movie anybody really asked me to talk. You know, and it was part of Before Sunrise was learning about how to talk on screen and trying to let yourself shine through. You know, Rick really was asking us not to hide behind character or postures or posing, but to try to be present in a movie, which is a very different kind of acting and very, very difficult to do. And So I get kind of amazed as the movies go on about how the same we are. There's something that's very interesting to me about that. And what it stands for to other people, I think we're really the wrong people to ask. I have no idea. It's, I love the idea that you would even ask such a question, but because it means that people are relating to the characters and things. But it's also that kind of thing that would make us hesitant to make a fourth, because the pressure just mounts. When nobody was paying attention, it was really fun.
I mean, sometimes I'm surprised when people tell me they're excited to see this film, you know? I mean, not...
No, I know what you mean. It's like...
No, because, you know, we're part of it. We don't know really,
Yeah, we really put that part out of our minds that anyone cares,
really,
might care.
Your question on the right,
It's hard
please.
to judge for us.
Hi, my name is Martina Kaden from Berlin, the newspaper BZ. Question to you actors. How was it watching yourselves grow up over 18 years and to watch different hairstyles and different looks and, you know, just how is it to go back and see yourselves 18 years ago?
I only see different weight. Oh, really?
Well, there's your response.
Thank you. No, I mean, you know, the reality is that we all gonna grow up and, you know, grow and grow and grow. You know, the last will be amour.
Yeah. We know our last. We're gonna make a remake of that. Yeah. We're just gonna skip the next 40 years and do that.
Go straight to that. But yeah, it's a weird thing. Sometimes it gives me that little pinch in my heart, like this fear, this little fear. And then I let go of it when we start writing and we're in the moment of doing it. Because really it's about the moment and capturing the moment, you know. And we're growing, but things are not bad. Like, you know, it's not bad to grow. It's not a bad thing. It's not a, I don't see it as a scary thing. Maybe when I reach a time where, yeah, you know, sickness, oh God, I can't talk about it. But anyway, but aging itself is not, you know, you learn, I mean, at least I feel like I'm a little bit more grounded. A little bit. Okay, anyway, next.
Sorry.
You can answer.
You want? No.
Guys.
Okay.
No, we'll
Okay. Sorry for that. The last question for the day.
Yeah, I'm Ninja from Stockholm University. This may sound a bit pretentious and impolite, but somehow your film, oh, okay, this question goes to Julie Delpy, the respectable Julie Delpy, of course. And your film, 2 Days in New York, somehow reminds me of what Woody Allen did, like Midnight in Paris or whatever he did. And since just now you mentioned the clarinet, that builds maybe a little more connection, like is there any inspiration or whatsoever? And then, so this question is, quarrels between couples could be bitter and sour, but not in your movie. And the dialogue is so, I don't know, such a witty, let's say a train of witty stimulations. And is that the way you talk to your other half, like on a daily basis?
In this film? The way we talk to each other in this film?
No, she's not.
What film are you talking about? I'm a little confused.
This film.
This film, okay.
Yeah.
She wants to know about your spiritual connection to Woody Allen.
My spiritual.
Yeah, and
if any.
Do you say witty things like to your, you know, romantic partner
in your real life,
as you are in the movie?
Am I Woody Allen? What?
Was that what she was?
Disguised? No, I don't know what. I'm confused now. Do we talk to a spouse? I don't know. You know, fiction is fiction, and as I said, you know, we take a little element of truth, which is like, you know. But it's very written. The film is extremely written. I couldn't come up with this kind of argument if I didn't write it. I mean, it took us weeks and weeks and weeks of writing to get to this structure of arguments. I wish I could argue it like this. You know, I mean, Richard can talk to filmmakers probably more than me. I mean, I just like, you know, yeah, I mean, filmmakers, you know, make films, no matter what budget it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, okay, go and make movies.
Make your films, bring them to Berlin.
We are really happy to have you here for Before Midnight. Thanks for being here at the Berlinale. See you in 2022 for Before Dawn.
All right.
Hopefully it's not a zombie movie.
That's great.